A fish, a frog, a snake, a sparrow, and a monkey, they all have a backbone. Okay, so why are these? Why are they not the same kind of animals? So animals have different architects, just like I explained about chordates, which are animals that have backbone. So they all call in different kind. So for example, you have a fish, a reptile, your mammals, amphibians, and your birds. They all have a backbone. So why are they not the same kind of animal? So they can have the same backbone. That doesn't mean they're all the same. So they all have their own specific features that make them unique from one another. All right. So a five phylum to phylum chordata, just kind of a refresher for you to know that okay, we have different phylum, but you don't really call them phylum, we call them class. And the phylum, the class. So a chordata is a phylum chordata, but we'll have five classes. Okay, so they are grouped into five classes. Okay, and you have your Pisces, you have amphibian, reptile, aves, and mammalia. Okay, so in this video, I'm only interested on Pisces. We're going to make a separate video for amphibian, reptilia, aves, and mammalia. Okay, so which class do you think breathes only through gills in its entire life? So if you breathe only through gills, it means you cannot have any business to do with water because gills is not really designed for you for organism to use outside a water environment, but they need to use only these gills only when they are present in the water. And the answer is Pisces. It was a fish. Okay, so Pisces is a very important organism because while we feed on Pisces, they give us a very nice protein in our meal. Okay, this includes fishes. We have different species of fishes. Okay, so if you go into the oceans, you find different fish around. They move around and they occupy the entire habitat. So these are very special organisms. Okay, so what are Pisces? Pisces are cold-blooded vertebrates. They are vertebrates, they have backbone, and are cold-blooded because they're always found in water. And they live permanently. I didn't say temporarily, they live permanently in water because that's a major habitat. So this is an example. This is a picture of a fish, and this is a diagram of fish. You have different parts. You have the eye, nostril, you have your fins, you have the dorsal fin, you have the anal fin, you have the caudal fin. So all these help for movement. They have a streamlined body, so also the features that make them very unique. Okay, so example of Pisces. So you have your tilapia. We have different species of fishes. You have your catfish, which you use in Africa. We use to do pepper soup. So you have your shark. Okay, and you also have your tuna. So we have different species of fish. Okay, so it's very important for us to know the habitats where they're found. Yes, the aquatic, but we have different segments of aquatic habitats. They'll have your rivers, your pond, your lakes, saltwater seas. We have different species that are actually specific to a particular region. So you have a saltwater, you have a very big, large amount of fish called the saltwater, like an ocean, have a large landmass where they can contain large amount of fish. So you have a freshwater where you can find different species. If you go to streams, you can find fishes in streams. So they occupy a large amount of water. So the body shape, so the body is streamlined to cut through water with less resistance. So it's highly streamlined so they can easily move around water without getting any form of resistance that occurs in the water body. Okay, so you can see this streamlined body that make them to be able to swim along water and pass through different barriers in water with less resistance. Okay, so the body covering, the skin is covered with scales. Have a lot of scales which is present, and this overlap like roof ties. Okay, so you can see different scales. These are the scales you can find on the body. Most of the time, you want to eat a fish, you tend to use your knife to peel off the scales away, and these scales save a lot of have a lot of protective mechanism that help them to be able to survive from predators in water. Okay, so fish breathe through the gills, which is what absorbs oxygen, which is dissolved. When when oxygen get into the water, it gets absorbed and it gets dissolved into the water, and this oxygen is what being used by fishes to for breathing, and they use the gills for gaseous exchange. Okay, so this part here is operculum. Once you open the operculum, what happens? You see your gills. And we'll have your gill filaments, you have your gill rakers, and you have your we'll have sometimes you have your gill ash, you have different section on the gills. But this is operculum. The gills is encased inside the operculum. This part of the brain is called the operculum. So when you open the operculum, you see the gills inside. Okay. So temperature, so fishes are because it's poikilothermic, means they are cold-blooded animals. You do what poikilothermic, and warm-blooded animals use the word homothermic. So for cold-blooded animals, they are poikilothermic. So fish are poikilothermic, and the body temperature changes with the surrounding water. So when the water is very cold, the temperature is cold. When the water is warm, the temperature is what warm. So the body tends to change based on the changing temperature. Okay. So the next thing you need to know about the Pisces is they have fins for movements. So they have different type of fins. I have dorsal fins, pectoral fins, pelvic and caudal fins. And this help with swimming, balance, and steering the steerer to move around water. Okay, so we have the caudal fin, anal fins, and the rest of them. Okay, so it's very important to be able to draw the fish and know which part is each part is the dorsal, the anal, and the pectoral fin. So just a test, what type of body does fish has? Is it circular body? Is it triangular body? No. So they have a streamlined body that helps them to move in water without any form of resistance. Okay. So reproduction. So in terms of fertilization, is always what external. Okay. So which means the female releases the eggs while the male move towards the eggs and release sperm on the eggs for it to be what fertilized. So they release the eggs into the water. The males swim toward the egg and will release the sperm on the eggs, and that egg sent to fertilize the egg. That's why fertilization is what actually what external, not what internal. Okay, so external means it happens outside the organism, not within the organism. All right. So importance of fish, of Pisces. So they serve as the major source of protein for humans. You can't do without fish because they give us nice protein. They provide income through fishing and fish farming, like in aquaculture, and they help maintain balance in aquatic food chains, and they use in scientific research. For example, your zebrafish in genetics studies. So it's very, very important to know how this fish is quite important. Okay, so just a quick recap of what we've done. So this is kind of like a summary. All right. So gills is for breathing, taking oxygen from water. Scales, they're hard, the overlapping skin covering for and help for what? Protection. They're cold-blooded organism, so which means the body temperature changes with the environment. They have fins, that's for swimming, balance, and direction. And don't forget, they have different type of fins. And external fertilization. So the eggs and sperm are released into the water, and this happen outside the body. Then, if you look at this diagram here, you can see you have your gills, which is below the operculum. They are cold-blooded organism, and they have scales, and these are the fins. These are the fins for movement. These are the other fins, and fertilization is external. This is the eggs. This is the eggs that has been laid by this female fish. Then while the sperm is being what placed on the eggs for fertilization to occur. Okay, so this is just an overview of this species, which is what the Pisces. So Pisces has to do with different fish species, and they are all under the phylum Chordata. All right. So all type of fishes found in the water. You have your mudfish. You have your sharks. They all fall all under this words. This phylum Chordata, which is the class Pisces. So I'm going to see my next video when I'm going to teach you about the class Amphibian, which is organisms that live both in water and on land, unlike fish that live permanently in the water alone. Once they leave the water, they'll die because they need the water environment for them to survive. So see you in the next video.